Hello and welcome everybody to Theory of Anything podcast, episode number 15.
Whoa!
Oh, we're at another milestone, another 5th episode, which is very, very good. I'll tell you why in a second. Before that, I have with me myself, which is Devon. And
Welcome, Devon.
Thank you. I have Dad, otherwise known as Paps or Andy.
Hi, everyone.
How are you?
Very well, thank you. Nice to hear you again.
Nice to hear you again too.
Yeah.
And I also have Ford.
Hi.
Excellent.
Hey, you're not going to ask how I'm?
No. Moving on. Every 5th episode, we have a special guest to join us on the podcast to shake it up a little bit, get another voice in there, talk about whatever they fancy. And this week, on this 5th episode, we have Tim. And Tim is a very, very good friend of mine, best friend of mine. He is an amazing man of God.
Oh, steady on.
He always says it as it is, and so be warned, okay? So this episode's not for the faint of heart.
You're pre-warning us, are you?
Yes, and he's also one of the funniest people I know. So, hello, Tim.
Hi, mate. You're right. I had to hold in laughter 3 times. My days. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
So,
hello. How's it going?
Joining us.
Good to have you here, Tim. Welcome.
Thank you very much.
We've been looking forward to this. I'll just interject that when we shortlist people we might like to invite a guest, I've been saying, I'm sure Tim would be great. So we're putting you on a high pedestal, Tim.
Please.
Looking forward to your participation in our conversation.
I'm not ready for this.
Yeah.
We've got some pickups from the last episode, or episodes. We had a comment on our YouTube channel video, episode 14, which was from E. Dingwo, saying, "Hi guys, well done for going for some Georgette higher."
Yep. That's
right.
We decided.
We're talking about beard and what beard means. She says it means here to beard the grandfather in his den, to confront him.
Okay.
To go and tackle him. Mm-hmm. And we're also worrying about the curricle, which is actually pronounced curricle. It's an open-top, 2-wheeled carriage pulled by horses. She says, loving all different segments, keep it up. Yeah, we thought it was something to do with horses for sure, but she's a very wisdomous lady.
Oh, what a great font of knowledge. Yeah.
Yes,
yeah, very good. Thanks for solving those 2 queries. I don't know if it was... I thought we kind of got our heads around it, but it's always great to have that confirmed. Thank you.
Yes.
We also got another comment on our Batman segment. It was quite a while ago now, but he says, "I'm so hyped for Batman." This dude, he has a great taste. I'm pretty sure.
Did he want us to?
Curtis Benjamin, I think.
Okay.
Curtis.
Shout out.
Yeah, there you go.
Thanks, Curtis. Yeah.
He has great taste, I say.
Yeah. Fabulous. Another Batman fan.
I'd hope so, yes.
I wanted to mention that in our quite lengthy discussion last time round in our last episode about alcohol, there was a verse in the Bible, and I don't know if I referred to it, but if I quoted it, but I found it after the show had been recorded. It's 1 Timothy 5:23. Tim, reference there again. Did you know your name's in the Bible, Tim? And yeah, you are famous. Yeah, all those many centuries ago, a letter to Timothy. Anyway, 1 Timothy 5:23, and that says, "Stop drinking only water and use a little wine because of your stomach and your frequent illness." So it says there that wine is good for the stomach, which gives us a little bit of encouragement that we're allowed the old glass of wine. But I think, I'm not saying that's suggesting that drunkenness is okay, because the Bible does also warn against drunkenness. But there we have a little bit of a balance to the discussion. Go on, what were you going to say?
I would like to point out that historically, water in the olden days was pretty awful.
It was, yeah.
I think water nowadays, we're fine. You don't need to drink alcohol if you want to.
Keep drinking water.
Yeah, they didn't have Volvic back then, did they?
Fair enough. Okay, good point.
Thank you for picking that up.
But my point was that God didn't have any hang-ups about drinking alcohol, but he did have a lot to say about not getting drunk. So yeah, which you can find elsewhere on numerous locations in the Bible. Okay,
excellent, thank you. So, unless anybody has any other comments or anything to say, we'll head on to the action.
Welcome, special guest.
Okay, so my topic was going to be award ceremonies, basically.
Oh,
yeah, but either the music industry or the film industry. I've been there's this prize that gets given out every year by a lot of music critics, and it's called the Mercury Prize Award.
mm-hmm.
And essentially, all it is the prize that you get some money to go towards the next album, to help the artist record the next album.
It's pretty handy.
It started in 1990. We're gonna be focusing on music, but we're also gonna branch off in a second to like films and series and stuff like that. But it started in 1990, and it's been going all the way since then. So ages and ages. I think my main point probably is: do you think that awards in general are becoming watered down through every year? Something is released, because you can look this up. I've got a Wikipedia page right now, a list of all the winners, and there'll be years where you have people like Radiohead, Elbow, Gorillaz, Basement Jaxx all going for one award, and then you list off those artists and you just go, wow, they are huge artists, and then it's won by somebody like Miss Dynamite, who I've never heard of in my entire life. So like in 2001 you had Gorillaz' debut album, Amnesiac by Radiohead, and then Asleep in the Back by Elbow, and then Basement Jaxx's like famous Rooty. It's not the best album ever, but it's just pretty flipping good. Mm-hmm. And it's won by PJ Harvey. Now, I'm not saying PJ Harvey's bad, but she's not my style. Especially when you have like Gorillaz' debut album and everyone like that. I felt like critics got it wrong.
Why do you think PJ Harvey won then?
I really couldn't tell you, because it wasn't even. I had a look. It's not even the biggest selling album of that year.
Yeah.
There's this constant shift every so often through the years. When you look at this award, it just feels like critics went, well, the obvious choice is this, but if our palette is so mediocre, let's give it to this person.
So just being countercultural for the fun of it.
Almost, yeah. And I think my question to you is it, when does it get to a point where counterculturalism, good word forward, thanks, bro.
Ooh, heavy.
When does it get to a point where it's detrimental to awards? Yeah. And two, when do you think we'll get to a point where we even need awards? Because there are points when you go to the Oscars, let's say, even the BAFTAs, where you look at the year and you just go, oh, that film wasn't very good. Oh, I kind of feel like Leonardo DiCaprio should have won it for maybe Inception rather than The Remnant, because let's be honest, The Remnant wasn't very good. Yeah. Don't let anybody in Hollywood hear you say that. But like, things like that. Times where you think 100% 2010 Leo should have won an Oscar for Inception, in my opinion.
Okay. Yeah, it's fair opinion, yeah.
And I can't even remember who wins it. But it just doesn't happen. Some years there's just a huge plethora, if you will, of amazing films that come out that year, and it's really hard to choose between. And then other years they just suck. Like So my thing is, will the sucky years take over from the not so sucky years? Will we get more sucky years than good years as time goes on, or will they stay where they're at?
I believe the year that Inception was nominated, King's Speech won.
Of course.
We can't do that.
Yeah, that was also a good film, but I know what you mean. There were some great films that year.
Can I ask about these committee, like these awards? How are they judged?
So, Mercury Prize Award is judged by a bunch of critics, and then Oscars/BAFTAs. I can't remember which one it is, unless it's exactly the same. They just have a funky name. I can't be right, but anyway, they're judged by people in the industry.
All right. So do they someone creates a committee of these people and?
Oh no, we don't know who it is. It's just somebody who has been a lifelong member of Hollywood, who has been deemed they have the right to. Yeah, it's a bit funky, isn't it? Because I mean, I've listened to articles where people, like, for best animated picture, people have sat their kids down and gone, "Oh, did you like that film? What about this one? What about that one?" And the kid has chosen the BAFTA nominee for that year, not the critic themselves. I know, but I don't know, mate. You'd think you'd be able to choose a film critic could choose. Oh, even though it's an animated film, they could choose the right film. I don't know.
But if it's not engaging with the target audience in the right way, like it could have really good writing, really good animation, but maybe if the colors aren't popping right for the kids or something like that, something that we wouldn't really judge really well, and it's not actually effective for the target audience.
I mean, I didn't think about that. I didn't think about colors popping, mate.
Well, I think about that all day, mate.
Yeah, when I looked at The Incredibles, I didn't go, "Oh, Mr. Incredible suit, it's really popping. It's getting my vibe." Yeah, that's my nominee. Yeah.
It did, though, to be fair. How much money are we talking with these awards?
So Mercury Prize Award gives you, I think it's $60,000.
Cool.
Towards a new album.
Which, if you are an up-and-coming music artist, that's going to be a huge...
Exactly. That's another point.
I think that's why they pay for that.
But that's the funny thing.
For why they actually nominate and have the up-and-coming ones win.
But that's the funny thing, right? There's if you're going to have all those famous people that, let's be honest, don't need the money. So I had a look. Coldplay have been nominated 3 times. Never won it, but they've been nominated 3 times.
They'll probably end up getting a Lifetime Achievement Award or something like that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Because they've missed out so many times. That's how they usually use that particular category, don't they?
Same thing with...
Who have we missed that we should have perhaps chosen before now? Give them a Lifetime Achievement when they're finished. Yeah.
It's the same thing with Arctic Monkeys. Again, they've been nominated. They've been nominated 3 times.
Yeah.
And it doesn't make any sense to me. I could understand if it was debut albums and like for the sophomore album afterwards.
I think the newcomer categories are more interesting, and and possibly the Lifetime Achievement ones they're probably more interested to me. But I'm not as au fait with the music industry as I am the film world. So it's interesting to hear that opinion about the music industry awards. Yeah.
The problem is that obviously there's a lot of objectivity to music, but there's also a lot of subjectivity. So it's a lot of, okay, well, this person can hit that note for this long, or they can do this really complex sequence in the song.
Yeah.
But it's also actually subjectively, I prefer this one. So it's very hard to have everybody saying, okay, this one is the one that should win. Because the people are judging it. It's like, actually, no, I really, really liked this tune instead, or whatever it is that's coming across from that song. When in the, what's the word? Well, the music language is actually better with the other song. Whatever.
It touches more people because of...
Yeah.
I know what you mean.
I also wanted to say, with regards to your question, like, is the sucky years going to get more?
I think it'd be more,
or
concurrent.
Yeah, or worse. You hope that as things get cheaper, like really good cameras or really good recording equipment and that kind of thing, music and film would be produced more, higher quality more often. You kind of hope, anyway.
Yeah.
You're saying soon enough you won't need a recording studio because you can do it all in your basement.
Yeah.
I mean, there are success stories, aren't there? Like Naughty Boy, the producer who produced Emily Sandé's album, Our Version of Events. He got his start from going on Deal or No Deal. And the winnings that he got from Deal or No Deal, he just converted his parents.
Oh.
He converted his parents' shed in the back garden to a studio.
Wow.
Must be a good shed.
Yeah, well, yeah. And then he just kept on sending things out to different artists, going, "Hey, if you are just willing to take a risk on me, I reckon I could make you big." And Emily Sandé was all like, "Yeah, you know what? Let's do it."
What a great story! I'd never heard that. Yeah.
Did he win the jackpot on
Emily Sandé? She had a couple of big hits off that album.
Huh.
Off our version of Events, I think it was called.
Wow.
Yeah. There's Daddy, there's Next to Me, and then there's another song off it. I can't remember it. But yeah, it's an alright album. You could probably listen to the three most famous ones and kind of skip the rest, but don't let anybody know.
Okay. So the dream is still alive then? It's still possible? Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And you get all these, like Avicii is another one.
Yeah.
Who was just doing, he went to music school and was just doing it all on his laptop using Logic and what's the other one called? Ableton Media. And he was just doing it all on his laptop on the fly, just using the keyboard as so swings and roundabouts. We're already there, Ford.
Genuine creativity. Yeah.
Yeah.
You do also get a lot of people who go in, like, if they haven't got guitars or pianos or any kind of stringed instruments or something like that, then it's not actual music and they shouldn't be popular.
Oh, you're thinking of like electronic music.
Yeah, like Avicii that we were just talking about, doing it all on his laptop at home or whatever it is.
And those people would be right.
Controversial, as always.
So
you're not going to call me out on it.
So pull us back to Tim's original
Oh,
question.
yeah, I do that so much.
It's not just you, Tim. Don't worry. Yeah. So your comment or your first question to us was, our awards ceremonies, do they still have a place? Are they beginning to become?
Yeah. Do we need them? Are they obsolete at this point?
Yeah.
I know you can celebrate music that way, but at the same time, there's so many years where I just kind of go, was this necessary? I know we have to do it because it's a yearly thing, but this year really sucked.
Yeah, really, yeah.
I wish there was a fair way of judging it, but like Devon said, it's art. It's really hard to judge art, isn't it?
Because I'm guessing other forms of art have their own methods. I mean, writing has the Booker Prize award, doesn't it? The novels, art authors get their chance to shine at the Booker Prize. I guess, I'm thinking about other types of art, what you might go to a gallery to view. Do they have awards for
fine art?
Modern and contemporary and fine art, yeah.
Lit.
Yeah, I don't know. That's way out of our comfort zone.
Listeners, put it in the comments below. There you go.
Hopefully, somebody will get back to us on that. Yeah.
If you're an art critic,
we know we have a guest with us today that knows a lot about music and other areas. But what are the main music awards? Opportunities
Okay, so you have
the Mercury Music Award. Yeah,
You have.
I've heard of the Black Music Award. Yeah,
You
what's that called?
the Brit Awards as well.
Oh yeah.
And then, there's one more really big one.
Okay.
It's not Critics' Choice, is it? Because that's just a category. Oh, flip. It's an American. I can't remember.
And one other, yeah.
Yeah, one other that I'm aware of.
Okay, they're the main four, are they?
Yeah. I know that films get like film festivals and things, and it allows for the smaller, kind of more entrepreneurial stuff to come through. And if it's big enough, then a big studio will grab it and just go, "Yeah, go on."
That's right.
I like that idea.
Yeah, I think
you can't really do that in music, but
showcases, people who are at the beginning, then I think there's a good part to play. But if it's just for already successful people to add another statuette to their showcase, their own cabinet, then maybe not so interested. Yeah, it's like on another area and the television awards.
of course.
How many times have Ant and Dec won the TV Personality of the Year or whatever it's called? Seems like every year they get it.
Same with
unless one of them's in rehab. Yeah. Sorry.
Well, ouchie.
Ouch. Sorry. What were you saying, Tim? Sorry, say again.
Like, there's also best drama, isn't there? Like for Coronation Street and City and all that jazz.
Yeah.
There we go. Best soaps.
You can kind of argue that if they kind of force these lesser known people to win, then the prestige of the award would go down. Because people who obviously aren't as well known or aren't as good, because Undertaker are very, very actually good at their job. They are like this personality, so maybe they should win, maybe they shouldn't.
Could you also argue that they could get complacent at the same time, though? You don't know how good you've got something until they're gone.
Fired.
Or, they've been fired, or they're in rehab.
Yeah, maybe. But if someone some no-namers won the award, then it kind of just brings the prestige of the whole thing down, I think.
Yeah. Right.
Fair enough.
We've gone on a meandering whirlpool. I like it. It's nice. That's my bit.
Well, thank you for demonstrating a whole new sort of area of knowledge that we've, between the rest of us, I speak for myself anyway, have got very little understanding. But yeah.
Oh, no worries. It's all right.
Not sure we've come to any conclusions with it, but
good point.
Yeah,
there you go.
Definitely. And that's what this podcast is all about.
Yeah. That's nice.
Devon's segment. Subject.
Okay, time for my segment. For this one, something popped into my head that I really, really want to talk about. I've talked about video games before in the past, but that's been more to do with esports and that kind of thing. But today I wanted to talk to you or ask a bit of your opinions about what you think your best gaming experience is. I'm not talking about maybe the highest quality game, but the one that had the most impact on you. But that's multiplayer, single player, or whatever it is. This is the best gaming experience. So
you bring it home, eh? Back to us.
Exactly. But started off, I'll give mine.
Okay.
Mine is probably, I can think of loads and loads, but probably the end of Portal 2. Because I've been on this huge journey from Portal 1. If anyone doesn't know, you're always trying to escape the... I forget the name of it now, flipping out. Trying to escape the testing chambers inside Portal. So the entire Portal 1, then the entirety of Portal 2. At the end of it, spoiler alert, you go up in this elevator into this huge field of weeds. And it's just like, wow, I'm out. And it's that feeling. It's just like, flipping out, what a journey type thing. That's one of my best gaming experiences for sure. I've got loads of other ones as well. Yeah.
Wow. I like that as well because, I like that game because it had a multiplayer option. That was a lot of fun. I remember getting out as well when the music starts to play. It's great.
Yeah.
A real sense of achievement, was there?
Definitely, yeah. But it's like you're basically playing against GLaDOS, which is like basically a robot that that's evil basically and hates you. And by the end of it, she's just like, I don't even care anymore. Just leave. And that's how you get out. And it's just like, I didn't have to like kill you. I didn't have to like sneak out. But yeah,
you kind of get thrown to the wayside, don't you? Because she just goes, I've built robots who can do it better than you. Sorry.
Yeah. Yeah.
Get out. You're just annoyed.
Yeah. So that's mine anyway. I wonder if anyone actually had any others.
I'm interested in this. Andy, what was your first game you played? I'm so interested in this.
Oh, okay. The first game that I really connected with, that took over days at a time.
Oh, flip.
Yeah, was a game on the old ZX81. You'll have to Google that.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to do that.
Yeah, it was just it was a monochrome graphics, very very blocky, and it was called Flight Simulator. That's simple. That's all it was called, by Psion. Psion was the company that produced it. This is how much I remember it. And
wow.
If you actually, I bet on YouTube you probably see some footage of people playing it.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
But the physics of that was like nothing else we'd ever seen before. And we'd spend, myself, my brother, and my cousin would spend whole weekends just flying this airplane around in complete darkness. All that the screen had on it was a horizon line, and below the horizon was black, above the horizon was grey. That's the sky, yeah. But whenever you were approaching the runway lights were white.
Wow.
And
three colours.
They moved very accurately. And we were, if you approached it at the wrong angle and everything else, and we were blown away by the concept what this computer was doing to create this illusion of flying was very, very powerful. And we'd spend hour after hour after hour taking it in turns to take off, fly around to where these beacons were, which you couldn't see, but you could tell by the radar where they were. Get to each beacon point and land again, and we'd do time lapse so you could do it the quickest. That's how we made a game of it. It wasn't really a game. There wasn't a, if you like, a story mode or anything like that. It was just the idea of flying this simulated aircraft. Yeah.
I used to play a very similar game on the PDA that Paps used to let us borrow sometimes.
Yeah.
It was epic. Yeah, it was just like you described, except there was bad guys as well. You had to sort of
it was so trash, but it was so good.
It was.
Yeah. Did you shoot them? I think.
Yeah, a little. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was good fun. That.
Yeah. Just shows you though, doesn't it? How you can be so time consumed by a very simple concept.
Yeah.
Yeah. It doesn't.
That's my point. It's not about like the best graphics or best mechanics in the game or anything like that. It's just, it's just where you were at the time and the experience of the game itself.
Yeah.
The replayability and all that jazz.
Yeah, definitely. So would you say that ZX81 Flight Simulator game was your best experience? Or just
No, I think there are others, but that's the one that stood out when I think of the hours spent playing games, and the impact it had on us. There were others even on that machine that were big impact. There was a 3D monster maze where you'd be wandering around a maze and then a dinosaur would come running towards you, and that was a very thrilling and frightening experience. Very jerky, but you knew there was a real thrill to it. What else? I spent a lot of time playing Elite on the BBC Model B. That was the first version of Elite not Elite Dangerous. That's the current version of Elite, but it was just called Elite, and that was wireframe computer generated 3D modelled spaceships, which again for the same reason, I think it was an evolution in graphical realism. But in some, far surpassed these days, but it became another level of immersion, Yeah.
That's awesome. Wow. What about you, Ford?
Else go,
Well, so mine's not like the best game experience I've ever had, but an experience that I had was when Sims 2 came out, because we as a family, we were all playing Sims 1 and it was great and all that. But when Sims 2 came out, we all individually had our own experiences, and outside the game, we used to talk about the new cool things you could do. I don't know if Paps and Devon, you remember that, but it was like my first experience of a communal, I don't know, a community about the game, because we were all playing it.
How you could zoom in and watch the TV behind your shoulder. Like that.
I remember that very conversation.
Yeah, me too.
It's just because everyone in the family was playing it, and we all got to experience that outside the game as well. It's good.
That's banging.
Good example. Brilliant.
Gosh.
Okay.
Tim.
I've got two. This is the problem. I've got two, but they're two very different. They're two very different experiences. One is watching my brother load up Crazy Taxi, which is just this game about driving around a city, a randomly generated city. And you just got to
PS2, I think, wasn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And you just got to pick up different passengers and try and get them to the destination as quickly as possible to get the most money, all that jazz. Yeah. I just remember all the voice lines and everything like that, and all the characters, and that was kind of my first experience of watching my brother play a game and me kind of just being super interested in it, because I was too young to like play it, but it was just fun to it felt like a communal thing.
We were never allowed to play Crazy Taxi.
No? I can't remember that. What was wrong with Crazy Taxi?
You can drive really fast into pedestrians.
You can crash into.
It's not exactly Grand Theft Auto, was it?
No, but we were never allowed to play Tony Hawk's either.
No way.
Because you could fall over and there's
blood.
Was there blood, or was it because there's no blood? I can't.
I think either way, it was because they were doing ridiculous things without dying.
You have a very strange memory.
No helmet, no knee pads, anything like that.
But we played other games. What was that hoverboard game you were allowed to play?
Oh, I've forgotten the name.
Airblade.
Was it?
Yeah, so good.
And
PS2.
Yeah, another game that I thought one of you might mention in our household was SSX.
Okay.
Snowboarding. Yeah. Well, as a family, we played that for many hours, didn't we? Every member of the family had their own character. Yeah. And that was constantly on the telly. Yeah.
So, Tim, you had never experienced.
Oh, okay.
Yes. Go on, Tim. Sorry.
It's fine. The other experience, I think, is when I first played like Halo. I reckon that on the original. No, I don't even think it was on the original Xbox. I think I was too old. I'd missed that point. I think it was on the 360. But then from there, buying Halo Reach after playing the campaign hundreds of thousands of times of the original Halo, buying Halo Reach and playing online for the first time, buying Xbox Live and just playing against other players,
real people,
real people, not bots that are absolutely destroying me, but I'm having the time of my life, getting wrecked by somebody who lives in America or something in Europe or something like that. My mind is just being blown that I'm even connected to the internet and playing with randoms.
All around the world.
From that you get invited to like group calls together, and you learn call outs, and you just get more and more competitive with them, but then at the same time, because of Forge World in Halo Reach, where you could make your own maps and stuff, you can joke about have little races in there and everything like that. It was banger. I had a great time. That was my first like taste of online play, and it hooked me from there on.
I can't remember my first online taster. I think it's because I played like browser-based games like RuneScape.
RuneScape, probably. When you knew there were real people in the same game as you,
See, we never had a good enough PC.
Probably Call of Duty 1 on the PC.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember?
On
that laptop.
Yeah.
My laptop. I remember that. Foy was my favourite world.
I think that was just on Call of Duty 1, I think. Yeah.
Was it Foy, the snowy one?
The big snowy one, thanks.
Yeah, I love that level. I still think about that every now and again. I think, I'd love to have a game of Foy. Knew that map inside out.
It's so expensive though, getting the old Call of Duties. It's ridiculous.
Is it? Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
I was going to talk about CS:GO, just probably not much, but because Tim mentioned Halo and a competitive experience about Halo, I was like, the competitive experience about CS:GO has been like none other for me. I've just sunk so many hours into it, so involved in like the strats and the community and just everything about it and teams and everything. I've never experienced anything like that.
It's so addictive.
Yeah, it's so addictive.
It's so addictive.
Yeah.
When you pull down a strat and it works perfectly, you just get this little high in the back of your head. I've completely outsmarted the enemy team.
When you say the word strat, is that short for strategy? Yeah.
Strategy.
It's not only did it go over my head, but I kind of worked it out. But it may have gone over other people's heads as well.
Yeah. It's a lingo that you get used to talking.
The lingo,
it's the same language. Oh.
Yeah. So you formulate a strategy as your team, and then it works, and then it's virtual high fives all round, is it?
It makes you so proud of what you've done, even though it's just a video game, and it makes you want to go back and come up with more strategies, and or to play more to happen again. And it's just it's an amazing game.
So many different ways to play as well.
Yeah, it's very simple but very amazing.
Exactly.
Pray and spray is my strategy.
Yeah.
Let's get a machine gun and go.
Yeah, P90 all day.
Yeah.
One for the road that I recommend people play is The Witcher 3. Flipping heck. What a great
You've mentioned this a few times, haven't you? Yeah.
For its story.
TV show.
Okay.
Which it has now on Netflix. Waiting for season 2. Please, Lord, come. But
whole good production on that.
Yeah, exactly. The Witcher game, Witcher 3. I haven't played 2 or 1. I probably should. But yeah, the story of that was amazing. It really grips you in. Multiple choice. It's probably one of my first good experiences with multiple choice that's actually portrayed really well and not clunky. Okay. But yeah, it's a very good game. All around.
Right.
Yeah, it's different to BioWare's stuff. BioWare with the whole like Knights of the Old Republic, Star Wars stuff with the procedural like options. You get like option A, B, or C. One's good, one's bad. And it has like this breakdown of words, but it's not actually even what the character says. It's just the inference, you know. Whereas with The Witcher 3, you are the main character, you know. You're not somebody different. You are that main character.
Yeah.
It's
a great game.
It's a beautiful game for sure. 100%.
I'm going to get back to play it for sure.
Do it.
Yeah.
Cool.
I think we'll be moving swiftly on because I've taken up a lot of time. I'll probably come back to that segment again in a future episode.
I'm sure
gaming experiences, a lot to talk about.
We love a bit of game chat, don't we? Yeah.
I definitely do.
Oh.
Sorry. Yeah.
I thought somebody got a sound effect then.
Tim is a sound effect.
Yeah, that's right.
Exactly.
Yeah. We're just having one every week to do sound effects for we? Oh, well done, guys. Thank you.
Paps. Segment. Subject.
All right. Okie dokie, guys. I wanted to bring a bit more film conversation with a difference. In our show note, you've all seen what my heading was going to be, but I don't think you understood what it meant, do you?
No, not even
a bit. Now you know it's connected to film, and I've used the phrase B and W. What do you think it might be about?
I've no idea.
For everybody else, my heading for my segment was "Help Me Enjoy B&W," and we're talking about films.
Black and white.
Black and white,
yeah. Black and white films.
Yeah, black and white film.
Cool. Forward your big brain.
Sorry?
He's big brain. Wow.
Well, yeah.
Do you think? Oh, well, I'm using that not for me. I'm asking that question for you guys. Wondering what your views are about black and white and why I love black and white film. And I wanted just to introduce that conversation with a little bit of history, if you like. Films have always been attempted to be colorized right the way from back in the late 18th century, going into 1900s. The end of 1890 something, 1895, I think, when the Lumiere brothers first showed their a public screening of 10 short films in a cinema environment, which is often considered by many to be the beginning of the cinema, really.
Wow.
Yeah, in 1895. In those days, films would have been hand painted, so each frame on celluloid of the celluloid film would have been hand painted to give a essence of color to a scene, like a flame or some smoke or somebody's dress color, or something like that. And obviously, it's a painstaking job. And then by the year 1910, around then, they started to tint whole segments of colour. So if it was a night scene, the all of the frame would be tinted, say, blue or something like that. If it was a romantic scene, it'd be tinted red or something like that, Or so they'd use tints to make it. It was a lot easier than trying to hand paint each individual frame. So not many films were hand painted before that because it just took too long. And sometimes short films would be done, but not longer features. Yeah, and then by the 1920s, they'd began to realise they could two-tone, so not just single tinted, but two-tone films. Don't ask me how they did that with the technology they had, but it wasn't until the 1930s that Technicolor really came into its own. So a lot of films from then on began to be seen in in Technicolor. Yeah. But even then, you're still getting a majority of films being made in black and white because of the cost. So there'd be quite a while before colour was widespread. Anyway, that's a bit of history. I've just...
Can I ask a question?
Of course you can, yeah.
We're talking about a camera. Its sole design is to take sort of pictures, I guess, of what is in front of it.
Yeah.
Now, I would have thought it would be harder to make those pictures come out in black and white than it is to come out in colour, because colour is what is real. Black and white, it's not really black and white.
You're talking about the celluloid nature of the film itself. Photography technology just didn't allow for capturing colours. It hadn't emerged until they didn't know how to do that. Don't ask me the technology about or the science behind that, but I know from when I was in my teens, my dad and I used to do black and white photography in his darkroom and process and print our own photographs. And the technology behind doing the black and whites was achievable in your own home, but to do colour photography at home, you needed an awful lot more equipment and a lot more expensive, chemicals and all sorts. And it was a lot more precise on temperatures, and that was only back in the late 70s, early 80s.
Ford, do you remember that? Do you remember that part in The Iron Giant where that detective's in the bathroom with the red light? And he's just turning over his pictures.
Yeah,
he's trying to find that kid with the Iron Giant. Yes, he's talking about that. There we go.
Yeah.
You see,
that's what I used to do with my dad. Yeah, I loved it. Yeah,
it's really interesting that nowadays. Correct me if I'm wrong. Anyone who knows better. Nowadays, it's actually harder to make. Nowadays, it's harder to make something that's black and white than it is color, as Ford was saying. You need extra software to then make it black and white.
Yes.
Naturally, it's actually processing it as color.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah, because of course, black and white photography, black and white cinema is still deliberately made today. Some films, by their very artistic nature, are better in black and white today. But I wondered what people's feelings are. So we've got two different types of black and white cinema. You've got that which was made in the 20s, or pre-20s and the 30s and maybe into the 40s. And then you've got modern cinema choosing to make black and white films. Now, so there's two different points to what I want to say. What's your feelings about black and white cinema, both in the
classics?
Yeah, the classic black and white, and contemporary black and white. Thank you. Let's call them that, shall we? The classic black and whites, which I just watched one this evening. Actually, it was the winner of the Best Picture Oscar in 1934, called "It Happened One Night," with Clark Gable and Claudette Colbert. And I watched it this evening because I wanted to watch black and white film for myself again, from my Oscar nomination collection. Which I'm trying to collect them all at the moment. I've talked about that.
It's like Pokemon.
Yeah. So, and I really enjoyed it. It had its faults, but it still won Best Picture. But the story was quite a moving story, you know. Anyway, but if you were to sit down in front of a classic black and white, what would your feelings be about it? Oh, I mean, some of the would you consider it old and unrealistic, boring, or would you be willing to give it a go? And then also, what would your feelings be about watching a modern film in black and white? I mean, I can give you some examples of some quite well known.
The Artist.
The Artist, as you know. Yeah, thank you.
It was Parasite black and white.
No, it wasn't.
It was just
that was foreign language. Yeah, that's why it got the headlines, because it's the first foreign language film to win. Something was wrong with it.
I'm actually really interested in watching that
Something's different. It's fabulous. It's a great film. It really
put it on
is
the
a very
list.
good film, powerful film. What else was going to say?
The Lighthouse.
Yes, yeah. There's been some quite well thought of ones last year. I'm trying to think of them all now. I'll tell you one that surprised me that's been released both in colour and black and white. Oh, Mad Max Fury Road.
Oh,
yeah.
That was in black and white.
Yeah, well, apparently George Miller, when he made that film, wanted to release it only in black and white.
Wow.
But it got a cinema release in colour, but it is available in black and white. He did do a black and white version, but he prefers the black and white version. That's his favourite version.
I mean,
that was the creator of the film.
That was already a dark film. Max Fury Road. So to have it in black and white would make that thing so much grittier. That'd be so cool.
It looks really beautiful. Apparently, I would look forward to seeing that again. I've got it on.
I never even thought about that
on disc. I wonder if there's a version of it on the disc. I haven't looked. Anyway, so that's my questions really. Before we go on any longer, or do you love it like me?
I like the idea of it. I like the idea of old films.
Yeah,
I hear so much about cinema so much more interesting back in the day, like Alfred Hitchcock's movies as well and stuff like that. But then I don't know, maybe my mind has got comfortable with the quality of modern day films. But then I watched a black and white kind of homage film, and it was directed by George Clooney. And it was called Good Night and Good Luck. And it was
I've got that on my list of ones that worth a look at. Yeah,
that film just captivated me.
Yeah,
I just loved it.
Yeah,
and I was like, there needs to be more like this. And I feel there was a film that came out last year called Bait.
That's another good example.
Again, shot on old school cameras.
Cornwall Village, I think, wasn't it? Yeah, Fishing Village. Yeah.
Fishing Village.
Mm-hmm.
It captivates me. I would definitely. There's definitely a place for it in the modern day.
Artistically,
I'd be down to watch one.
Oh, well done.
Sure,
you're open to it. I'm glad to hear that. Yeah. About the others.
I mean, I'm down. If it's a good film, it's a good film. I don't think adding or taking away the color is going to affect it that much. If that's what they're judging it off. It's more of the acting and the script that throws me off about older films. But I'm still down to watch them because it's part of history and they are classics. But obviously, there's a lot of films back in the day They're just bad. So
Yeah.
yeah. Obviously, they don't stand up to test of time, and they're not classics, but they're just old and bad. But yeah.
Okay.
And contemporary ones I haven't really seen much of, but
before we go to 4, then let me just kind of speak into that. Then, when you say it's bad, are you talking about the acting, or the stories?
Production quality, stories.
Yeah.
Just there's films of every era that are not as good as other films, and there's those ones that don't go through the following years, that aren't rewatchable, that we don't remember. Obviously, it's the classics that we do remember and that we do watch. But yeah, so I still say that the ones that are most prominent in today's age with black and white film, I can enjoy. Okay. Yeah.
You see, for sometimes I just think that it's like entering a different world. It doesn't. One of the good things about black and white is it doesn't look real, and film, the stories that we see on film aren't real, are they? Unless they're documentaries, I suppose. But we're entering an unrealistic world anyway. So to see it with a black and white format, I think can give a lot of films a more dreamlike, a uniquely dreamlike reality, and that's what makes them great. It gives you a view of a world that doesn't really exist, because you can't go out into the real world and see everything in black and white unless you watch it through your phone that's been set up to, do you know what I mean? Like you said,
filters.
Filters and that. But
or if you're colourblind.
Oh dear. Anyway, okay, fair enough. Yeah, no, I understand what you're saying about some of the early cinema wasn't the best, but some of the stories, I think. I mean, we reviewed Casablanca, didn't we?
Yeah, I was going to mention that.
One of our very first podcasts, and I think we all enjoyed it. But yeah,
definitely.
Yeah, I was just going to comment before we go to Ford. I said, why?
Get your turn, Ford. You'll get.
You will. Yeah, you can. You can. We as a church men's group, we have the film night, and some time ago now, I was going to show that we watch contemporary films, and we have a chat about them afterwards, and see what elements within them connect with our Christian faith. And the one I set up in the local community centre, we were going to watch Hacksaw Ridge, which isn't a black and white film, but as you know, it's a war film.
Yeah.
And very, very powerful war film, actually.
Yeah.
But there was a problem with the technology, and I could not get it to view in colour. I think one of my cables wasn't working properly. The video wire wasn't connecting properly. So we had to watch this war film in black and white. But actually, we said afterwards how much it added to the immersion of the film, because you felt like you were watching what real you footage. Would have been watching, real footage that could only have been filmed at that period of time.
Yeah.
And I think there's something about that as well. There's a film, I don't know if you've seen it, called Schindler's List, which is another film set in the war, which is 99% of it is black and white. There's only one use of colour in it, which exaggerates a point when it uses the colour. No, I won't spoil it. Okay. Yeah, it's a little girl's coat is coloured. Yeah, but I won't spoil it for you.
It's too late.
No, it's not, because you don't know how he does it, the way he uses it. Anyway, so that's all I wanted to say, was sometimes it can take you back to a particular time in a particular place because of the black and white. Yeah. Go on then, Ford.
Are you sure? You sure I can speak now?
Please do. Yeah.
Thank you. No, my experience of black and white is quite limited. I mean, obviously we watched Casablanca, 12 Angry Men I've seen, The Intruder. That's the first William Shatner film, I believe.
Yeah. Oh my days!
Yeah, wow. That's an old one. No, I actually quite enjoy it.
Good.
Personally, I don't know why. I think I just have a retro thing about me that just enjoys it. I don't go out of my way to find it, though. That's the thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm glad you're open to it then. So four of us are all very open to it.
That being said, I haven't actually seen any modern takes. Like we talked about Lighthouse, that was really popular recently, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It only came out, was it last year? I don't know, whatever.
Yeah, 2019. Yeah.
Yeah, really popular. I didn't see it. I think modern stuff maybe puts me off. It's got to feel retro to me, and if it's modern, it's no
Okay.
good.
Right.
That's just my head. That's just what it thinks.
Okay, Ford. Quick question.
Oh yeah.
That William Shatner film.
Yeah.
Was he as wooden in that as he was in Star Trek?
Even more so.
Really?
It's him younger, obviously, because
Yeah.
No.
yeah.
Oh no, his face doesn't change in Star Trek.
No.
It stays the same. No matter if he's kissing a girl or he's scared, like it doesn't change.
What are you talking about? He's the best captain. I don't want to hear this.
Maybe later on. In the beginning.
Yeah.
Way.
You're digressing now. Careful.
Yeah.
And you're speaking bad about Star Trek.
No, I love it. I love it.
Oh, good.
Just William Shatner is funky in the series. He's great in the films. Okay.
Yeah.
One thing that has piqued my interest on black and white films is going back and seeing somebody like John Wayne, because there's this aura
Westerns.
around.
Yeah.
There's this aura around John Wayne and how well he could become the general of the scene, if that makes sense. He dictated the pace of the scene. His character just exuded confidence, or just this aura of power. I'd quite like to see an old film like that and see what he did in it. That's
good.
There we go.
Yeah. Wow. I'm just having a quick look on my.
Just like your famous actors from back in the day, the people who are still around that you remember today. So your John Waynes of the world, your Gene Hackman, was it? No, flip. Grace Kelly? No. Marilyn Monroe? Yeah, all those people. All those. People.
So many old people.
I've got a few here that I thought I might recommend. Going back a ways, some of the older material. Yeah.
Quick.
And then if you do get to watch them, if you can find them. I've got All Quiet on the Western Front.
Oh, I've got that.
1930 war film.
Yeah.
Mutiny on the Bounty. I don't know what year that was.
19.
The original. Charles Loughton and Clark Gable.
Oh, wow.
I've just watched the Clark Gable film already this season. So the 49th Parallel apparently is very well thought of. A Laurence Olivier film. And finally, The Maltese Falcon, which is the Humphrey Bogart film. Another Humphrey Bogart, we mentioned Casablanca already. So they're 4 classic cinemas. There's some more up to date. Psycho, if you like a bit of horror. Again, that was in black and white. Yeah. And another horror film, which apparently, or a monster film, which apparently is very good. I haven't seen it. The Mist, and makes a great use of white.
Yeah.
Apparently, makes a great use of white.
It rings about.
The monsters. We're used to scary things coming out of the dark, but we're not used to scary things coming out of the light. So
that's strange.
Yeah. And one film that really impacted me, going back again a bit older, was the original King Kong film, which was really worthwhile watch if you've not seen that. So, and that's interesting from a technical perspective.
It's
how
a bit
they,
janky.
Very.
But it's very cleverly done. Yeah. That's probably the end of all I needed to say, really.
Wow.
Yeah. Oh, one more thing. I'm not a big fan, and some of the films we've been talking about, like Casablanca, didn't mention It's a Wonderful Life is another film that's been and Night of the Living Dead, films that were made in black and white but have been colorized since being made, and I think that's not a good idea. I'd much rather see it in the format that it was originally made. So
it's the same. It's the same with the old Laurel and Hardy skits as well, isn't it?
Yes, exactly. Because then you're no, because who's to say what colour the car should have been, or the wallpaper, or it
should have been pink. Everything's pink.
Thank you, guys. Sorry it took so long, but I hope you enjoyed it. A trip down some memory lanes there. Yeah, and I'm pleased that most of us, all of us, are up for a bit of black and white film. viewing.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Sleepover.
Well done. Yeah. Yeah. When lockdowns ended, we can all get around to watch the film together. Yeah. All right, guys. Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Forwards. Segment. Subject.
Have you guys ever found yourselves flying, soaring through the clouds with David Tennant fighting zombies with a lightsaber?
Not to my recollection.
Not quite. No? Well,
Where does this come from, bro?
I want to talk about dreams. A lot of my dreams involve lightsabers, I have to say. I was wondering, do you guys ever remember your dreams?
Yes.
Sometimes.
Yeah, I have been recently, but I haven't. Generally, I haven't been, but recently I have for some weird reason.
Really?
Yeah, it's really weird.
Dreams are weird, aren't they?
Oh,
They are.
Do you guys any of you want to share one of them you might have had?
My dreams get really mixed up sometimes, and sometimes I don't remember them until later on in the day. So they can be quite emotive, quite powerful. Yeah.
I have dreams that I'm marrying someone else, and I'm like, no, I don't want to marry this person. I want to marry Beck.
Yay! Oh.
Wow.
So you shouldn't call that a dream. You should call it a nightmare. That's a nightmare. Yeah.
Oh
man.
Yeah. Just in case Rebecca listens to this podcast.
She does,
yeah.
Wow.
How lucid are you in your dreams?
I used to be quite lucid when I used to practice becoming lucid in my dreams, because I thought it was like very, very interesting and very cool to be able to have this world where you could do anything. But I haven't tried to practice that in a long time. So I haven't at all really recently.
There are YouTube videos you can watch on, obviously, YouTube. So they teach you the techniques of lucid dreaming. It's very strange stuff. Yeah.
I've deliberately woke myself up when a dream has become a little bit too uncomfortable, you know. I'm not happy about this anymore. I'm gonna wake up now. Yeah.
Wow.
This one ain't for me, Chief. I'm out.
Yeah. Yeah.
Huh.
Okay.
Yeah. Is that what you mean by lucid dreaming?
Kind of.
Guide the way it's going.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you have some control, if not complete control, of how this thing is going.
It's like you're aware it's a dream.
What about Tim? What do you think?
Oh, flip. Yeah. As a kid, I used to take control of my dreams all the time.
Wow.
But it was always the funky ones though, right? Oh, you're flying and there's candy canes everywhere. You don't really know why there's candy canes everywhere. It's a bit weird. But like as an adult, I found myself waking up in like starts all the time. Like I'm falling, I wake up, my arms flop down onto the bed, like my arms have been raised. It's really, really funky. I think the most recent dream I've had, I just woke up feeling insanely lonely. I don't remember anything that happened in the dream. I just got this intense sense in my head of just being alone. It was so crazy. It was so crazy to me. And then straight after that, I had a dream like a couple of hours later that this weather lady told me it was going to be 42 degrees outside. Wow. And then I woke up and I was like, it's flipping freezing. What was she talking about? I hadn't even realized it's just a dream. It was like that one lady lied to me. Don't believe it.
Amazing.
I was thinking of like Australian weather in summer, but nah, it was spring.
Wow. We won't try and analyze your dreams then too much, Tim.
That's the thing. People do say that you can derive meaning from your dreams, and it's all very psychoanalytical.
Just like there tea leaves,
Yeah, well, I don't know if it's probably a bit more scientific than tea leaves, but there are obviously common themes, aren't there? Like the being chased dreams and the falling dreams and the flying, being naked. It's all very weird. Yeah. I don't know. What do you think about subscribing meaning to your dreams?
Oh, Oh, this is dangerous.
Yeah.
Go on, Devon. Go for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As obviously, there's a lot of talk in the Bible about God-given dreams and meanings to dreams, and people who have gifts of dreams. But there's also a lot of culture around paganistic practices around dreams as well, of not God-given ones, of flesh-given ones, or just completely just random dreams that people also then use in a spiritual context as well and create meaning out of that when there actually is none meaning at all. So it's very a give and take, I think.
Yeah, no, it's interesting talking about what the Bible says. I know there's a verse. Let me just see where it is. I think it's in Acts 2, isn't it? About God says that He will pour out His Spirit on people, and young men will see visions, and old men will dream dreams. So the old men get to dream the dreams. But I think that God can speak to us in dreams. I wouldn't necessarily go with just believing a dream. I think He can sometimes use that to confirm things to us, or we can seek confirmation after having what we feel is a God-given dream elsewhere as well. The usual channels of seeking confirmation that what we think we're hearing is from God. So yeah, it's to be wary of as well, I think. Yeah. About interpreting dreams. That's what you were asking, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I was going more. I mean, Devon took it to a spiritual place. I was just thinking in terms of like, so you're clearly nervous about something or something like that.
Yeah.
If you dream that you're surrounded by snakes, maybe you've got something going on in your life.
You've got an Indiana Jones complex.
Yeah. So exactly.
Yeah.
I need a psychology degree holder to tell me.
Yeah, sometimes I hear people on the radio trying to interpret the caller's dreams, and it's a lot of bunkum often. I think you're taking people a bit like fortune telling, really. So I'd be careful of that. Yeah.
Also, generalizable things that seems specific, but it's true for most people type thing.
Yeah.
Bit like
but there might be, if you have a recurring dream, sometimes that might be something that's connecting to the real world. I heard something the other day on the radio that our minds use dreams to kind of detox our day for us,
sort it, sort of thing.
Yeah, to sort out. That's a better way of putting it. Yeah, sorting things out in our brains. Our dreams are often used, or that's just what experts think that dreams are for, is to help us to work out what, and that people often say, don't they? Oh, you'll see things differently in the morning, or you'll feel better about it in the morning, and often that's because we've had a chance to process through the act of dreaming some of the stuff that might have been bothering us during that particular day. Yeah. Whether that's true or not, I don't know. Just something I heard the other day. Go on then. What was your point, Ford?
Oh, that is the point. We're done.
Oh, we're done?
I was trying to talk about dreams for a bit.
It's a great conversation. We have to come back to that one.
It's kind of like the Devon subject, that is.
Yeah, I was taking up from last week where I went deep dive into history.
Yeah.
Ooh, history? What'd you talk about? Here we go.
You watched last week's episode.
Talked about the Crusades, didn't you, Ford?
Hello.
Yeah.
I rate it.
Oh, the Dark Ages. Yeah, that's right.
Might have to go back.
You got a lot of knowledge, that young man. Well done. Well, you all have.
I know how to use Google. Yeah, that's what you mean.
Well, guys, thank you.
That's my segment.
Yeah, smashed it.
It's homework time and goodbye.
Yeah.
Excellent. That sums us up, I think. Also, for not doing the homework segment this week because I had a special guest.
Yes.
So just for a reminder, for next week we're watching the film Butterfly on a Wheel and then talking about it. So you still got a whole another week to give it a watch and to send in emails or Twitters or comments or whatever.
Oh, I believe we said the film was on Amazon Prime last week, but it's actually not free. I think it costs 99p to rent or something like that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Little FYI.
Disappointment.
Apologies for that misleading, but I think it'll still be worth it if it's as good as everybody says it is.
Yes, definitely.
Okay.
Excellent. So I just want to give a little bit of a shout out for Tim. For
Yay, Tim. Let's hold on a minute. It's not Thursday night, it's not the NHS, but it is Tim.
There we go.
Thank you so much, Tim, for being a valuable contributor to our little gather round our microphones. Yeah.
I had a great time.
Yeah. I hope you consider coming back. Yeah.
100%.
Yeah. Fabulous. And if ever you send messages, we'll always be sure to read them out, because the regular listeners will now put a voice to whatever it is you've told. Yeah.
Excellent. So you can find us on most major podcast platforms these days, but probably the best place is probably YouTube, because we've got a little comment section and description down below, so you can leave us some feedback or just comments about anything about the episode or last episode or anything. But also on Twitter at Theory of Anything. It's TING at the end. So give us a little cheeky tweet if you like.
Mm-hmm.
Always appreciated. Or just email us at theoryofanything@hotmail.com.
Marvellous.
Sweet.
That sounds good to me.
Excellent.
Smashed it.
Thank you, guys.
Yes.
So,
Thank you for coming.
yeah, thanks for being there. So until we see you all around the microphone again, thanks again, Tim. Thanks, Ford. Thanks, Devon. Say goodbye.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.